Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I am so excited to have you here with us today because we have a very special guest. We have today with us Miss Adrienne Rivera. She is a spiritual business coach. She is a breathwork trainer and she founded Breath of Gold. And so today she's going to be talking to us all about how breathwork can not only help us in our businesses if we're entrepreneurs, but also in our everyday life. And I don't really know all that much about breathwork, so I am really excited to dig in and get to hear a little bit more about it. But before we get started, we have a word from our sponsor for today.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Alaska Úlfhe podcast, which celebrates a proud Celtic Dane heritage by using the spiritual teachings of the past to address broken minds of today. Dr. Wiseman brings a new perspective on healing our spirit to heal our mind. Join us at our Patreon site at https://patreon.com/AK for links to all of our shows.
All right, and we are back and ready to get started talking all about breathwork. So, welcome to the show, Adrienne.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. I can't wait to learn all about breathwork and how you can use it in business because I own my own business. I know there are people out there listening to this show who do have their own business. But not only that, you're going to talk to us about how we can use it in our everyday lives if we don't happen to have a business. So I can't wait to hear all about that. But before we get started diving in talking about that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you get started doing breathwork?
Yeah, so breathwork I always say this, it always finds you when you're ready. So breathwork found me instead of me finding breathwork. I remember when I was living in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, being at the library and seeing the sign for something called Spirit Fest. And on this flyer, nowhere did it say breathwork at all. So I'm like, I don't really know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm spiritual, I'm open for this. And so I went, and in my very first breathwork session, it was completely mind-blowing, like so much euphoria in my body, so much pleasure. And I was amazed. I was like, what is this? That was just my breath. At that point in my life, I felt like pleasure was something that I had to get externally. I had overcome 6 years of binge eating disorder and was using like food for pleasure and comfort. And then also had a phase where I was using men for pleasure and comfort and relationships. And like everything that I was looking for was outside of me and I was grasping. And of course, as you know, doing the work that you do, like you can't reach for things your whole life or else you'll always be chasing. And so that was the loop that I found myself in until I found breath work. And I realized, wow, all the abundance that I've been looking for is within me. All of the love that I've been looking for starts from within me. And yeah, everything can be unlocked through this portal that is our breath. So around that time was when I started my first business, which was Fit Through Love. And that was our fitness coaching practice. And then I got to a point of really loving just being a business owner and having friends call me up for business ideas all the time and having this intuitive download to become a spiritual business coach. And one of my best friends was like, every single time you say that, I get my left arm gets chills, which is like a yes from the universe. So I took that as a sign and did a manifestation practice of writing down, I'm a successful spiritual business coach 10 times in my journal. 2 days later, I had someone from high school reach out, reconnect, wanting to hire me for a year. And so that was incredible. And from that moment on, shifted that, and Breath of Gold, the breathwork business, has been growing in the background. And through everything that I've done, when I was helping people with fitness, I used breathwork, right? Because there was only so much we could get to with nutrition, mindset, and exercise. Often it was deeper layers of trauma that was keeping them from getting to their fitness and weight loss goals. When I even dabbled in relationship coaching for a bit, would use breath work to help couples really feel each other and become present with each other. Now for business insights, breath work is the tool that I use where people have profound clarity, because really we know what to do. The only thing that keeps us stuck is ourself. And when we can let go of those limiting beliefs and get clarity, we can move forward in any area of our life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love that. So, I'm not super familiar with breath work itself. I mean, I've definitely done meditation, and I know in the meditation you do some breathing usually in that somehow. So I kind of have an idea of what you're talking about, but never really totally immersed myself in breath work. So for those who are like me, who maybe you hear breath work and you just think I'm just taking a breath here and there, what's breath work really about?
Yeah, so this is a great question. And it's a common question too, because there's pranayama, there's conscious breathing, and then there's circular connected breath, holotropic breath work. Usually when people say breath work, they mean some sort of journey type breath work. So that is a style of breath work that can be very deep, and it's usually done for an hour or more. And you're breathing in a way that alters your state of consciousness. And if you breathe deep enough for long enough, you can actually release DMT naturally in the brain. And that creates visions that you have where you just feel like you have loads of clarity come in, where you see where you are in 5 years from now, you know, the name of your business, you know, the next name of your brand, like whatever it is that you're looking for clarity on, it's like this clear yes or no. And it's like you're clearing any blocks to become an open channel. So it's amazing. It's deep. It's profound. It is incredible. I do it myself at least once or twice a week, if not more. And I also lead people through it once a week in my Sunday breathwork membership. And when we talk about pranayama, most people have probably gone to a yoga class and maybe they've tried some ujjayi breath or kalabati breath, and that can be nice, but it's not going to feel as, the word that's wanting to come through is profound, but it's still good for you, but it's different. It's like, for example, one of the powerful pranayama techniques is alternate nasal breathing, and that has tons of benefits for balancing hemispheres in the brain and gaining clarity. And a lot of what I think of pranayama for is to go within and find inner calmness and peace. For people who really want a journey and want to let go of past trauma and to really find their soul's calling and get clarity on what's next for them, a full-on breathwork journey is going to be very powerful. It's just powerful is the way that I can describe it. Whereas, you know, if you're doing a meditation and you're just being aware of your breathing, that's really great too. It's really great for grounding and connecting to your body. So we can use our breath in so many ways. And it's really powerful because we breathe when we're alive. That's our first thing that we do to enter this world. And then when we exhale, that's the last thing that we do. And so we're constantly on this long breathwork journey. And when we can bring our conscious awareness to our breath, then magic happens.
That's really interesting. And I know there's probably a lot of people out there going, oh my gosh, I would love to have more clarity in my life and to be able to see like where I should be in 5 years or in 5 months or whatever. So I love that concept. So how do you use breath work then? Like when you're coaching with a client, say you have a client who comes, because it's mostly spiritual businesses, right, that you work with.
Yes.
Which makes sense because really, I mean, if you have a spiritual business, even though it is a business, it's harder, I think, to go to a regular business coach because they don't really understand. What I find is a lot of people have a hard time explaining what they do. They're like, oh, I have this business and I transform people. Well, how do you do that? Well, I don't know. I just, and then a business coach is like, tell me what you do. You gotta make it clear, get that messaging out to people. And that's why I think a lot of people have a hard time getting clarity in their business. Like, what is it that I do? Who do I serve? Again, what am I gonna call this business? All of those kinds of questions. So I would love to know how the breath work is helping those people to answer those questions. Because I think it's really difficult when you have a spiritual business, especially.
I like to think of breathwork being an elevator from your head, your conscious thinking mind, the monkey brain, to your heart. And imagine creating a business from what your heart desires and what is in soul alignment and you have the most energy for. That is going to manifest way faster. So I have been an entrepreneur for about 5 years now. And a lot of people ask me, like, how did you grow so quickly? Like, you are young and you haven't been at this for that long. And it's really been a lot of the breath work and always doing what I'm most lit up about. When I was no longer lit up about fitness coaching, I had to pivot, right? Because I wasn't showing up because I didn't feel aligned to, like, it wasn't exciting. So when you can stay in what's exciting, that is where you have this dance of this life force energy going through you, and you know that you want to show up. It feels easy to show up. A lot of times I've been in, different business coaching programs, and I found resistance when it's overly masculine, and it's like, okay, you're going to do this ad, you're going to do this program. What do you want to do? And without the dance of breath work and asking my soul what is ready to be created through me, then it just feels like I'm pushing to do something. And I remember when I was first starting out, like feeling like I was throwing spaghetti at the wall, just doing something just to do it. Like, oh, I feel like I should launch something.
Yeah.
Rather than just creating enough space to see what feels like I'm passionate about it in the moment. And that's really what has come through. So the Peru retreat that I had last year was birthed through a breathwork session. And it almost didn't happen until I did a breathwork session around it and was completely blasted open. Like, you get to do this. It's not about the money. It's about the mission. I'm like, okay, great. Awesome. I get to do this. And the energy that I put forth to share it didn't feel like marketing. And it's powerful because I feel like a lot of people that I work with are coaches. They love coaching. And they tell me, Adrienne, if I could just coach all day without marketing, my life would be made. Now, I like to ask them, well, what's the difference between marketing and coaching? If you say, I'm going to click on Facebook Live and coach more people, you're coaching the masses rather than one-to-one, you can still make a huge impact and difference. So a lot of it is just using breath work to ground into your energy, but also your ideal client's energy of what do people need to hear through me.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point too, because you're talking about how we have to balance the masculine and the feminine, because sometimes some of those normal business coaches, their ideas feel too masculine. But I think people in general, like even if you don't own a business, I think that this journey is all about learning how to balance that masculine, feminine energy anyway. So if breath work really does that, I think that's so beneficial to anyone who's using it.
Yeah. And it can help you in so many ways. Often I'll go into I call it my weekly CEO breathwork practice, where I'm led every week in a one-on-one capacity. And often I'll go in with a business intention of, I want to figure out the name of this course. But if there's something going on in my life that needs to be resolved, breathwork will always show me what I need most in that moment, most in that session. So it's always like, set the intention and release attachment that you're going to get whatever you need. And so sometimes what shows up is inner child healing. Sometimes it's just slowing down enough to feel the gratitude that I have for my fiance and feeling love and marinating in that love and appreciating what I already have rather than always looking for the future of where I'm heading. So it looks different. And that's what keeps me coming back for more, because you never know what you're going to get. And unlike meditation, where I feel like a lot of meditation can feel similar, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into, breathwork can be so different, especially for someone's first 10 sessions. We as practitioners usually recommend like 10 sessions for someone. And then usually they get hooked and they do it for life. But 10 is really like where a lot of the foundational healing takes place.
And so let's say that we have some people out there who, because I know I'm going to hear this from somebody, I can't sit still long enough for an hour to do the breath work, or I get distracted, or, I don't have the time. What would you say to somebody out there, all of those things going through their head right now?
That is exactly why you need to do this, because I have ADHD and I also can't meditate. So breathwork is the thing where you're not just sitting still, you're doing something, you're going on this incredible journey. It's like you're unlocking this portal. The only thing you have to overcome is the first 10 minutes, because the first 10 minutes, you're going to get a dry mouth. You're going to have the ego come in saying, I have to go take care of the kids, or I have to go let the dog out, or I should go do the dishes or something else. And if you can overcome the first 10 minutes, what happens is powerful. The breath starts to breathe you and the energy starts to work in. So it's like you're creating this portal for new life force energy to come into every single cell in your physical body. You feel tingles all throughout your body. Your hands can feel like so much power in your hands. It's one of those things where it's so experiential and somatic that you have to just experience it. It's so hard to explain, but I feel that the listeners can feel my passion for it, and they'll know to try it if it's for them. They'll feel that inner calling. And so, yeah, if meditation doesn't typically work for you, if you struggle with the monkey mind and sitting still, breath work is that total alternative where it feels stimulating enough where the thoughts are coming through, the sensations in your body are coming through, where you could do it for hours. Like an hour goes by and it feels like it's been like 30 minutes or less.
That's incredible. I mean, I feel that way with meditation sometimes. Like if I do a guided meditation and I'm really into it, I'll wake up and then be like, whoa, that was a half hour and it just felt like 5 minutes. So I can see how you would get that feeling doing the breath work too. So how does one get started? Like going about doing, so say someone's listening to this today and they're like, okay, I want to start doing breath work today. What's the best way for them to get started?
Yeah, find either a one-on-one practitioner online or in your area, or do a group class. And yeah, something I'd love to offer everyone here is to come try out our Sunday class for free, because I know that one class can change your entire life. And that is the gift that I continuously give, because I know that the one class I took totally changed the course of my life. And it's so powerful. So yeah, if people listening want to try it and they don't know where to find it, you can go to breathofgold.com/Sunday-breathwork and come and try it out for free and feel all the magic, meet some awesome people. It's definitely a community. Breathwork is really powerful done in community, even virtual. We have people that join from all around the world, and it feels like you're on a journey that's bigger than you are.
I love that you're offering that for free. That is such an amazing gift. And, you know, not many people do that. So that's incredible. So they just go to your website, Breath of Gold. And then I know you said there was a backslash part, right? To Breath of Gold.
Yes. So Breath of Gold / Sunday-breathwork is where you can try it for free. If you go to breathofgold.com, you'll see all of the paid offerings, the membership that people have if they want to come every Sunday, the Oracle deck that we have that we just came out with, lots of fun things there. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so great that you're offering that. And I would highly encourage anyone who's sitting here and listening and thinking like, wow, this could be something that could help me in my life. And the fact that you have ADD, or if you have ADHD. I know my son definitely struggled with that in school. And so if you're telling me that this has actually helped you in
So
that, there's anybody out there listening, hello, go try it. If she's offering this for free for you to see if this would be something that would really work for you or that you just end up loving. I mean, I love that you say people get addicted and they do 10 sessions, but then they just keep doing it forever. Like, that's pretty powerful.
pretty powerful for sure. Yeah, I couldn't imagine a life without it. It's like feeling any sort of pleasure. It's like, for example, getting a massage and then never getting a massage again. It's like, how could you know that your skin feels so good and not want that
Yeah,
more?
you just reminded me I need to go get a massage.
Yes.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I know the feeling you're talking about, even though I've never done breath work. I know what you're talking about. And that feeling of euphoria, of like, there's nothing that I need to worry about right now except being here and being in the present moment. And if you have a lot of stress in your life right now and life is really busy, this would be a great thing.
Yeah, there are so many different modalities out there, and breathwork is one of the most powerful ones. And what I love about it is it's for everyone. It's for everything. You don't need to know even what you need to let go of. It's kind of like a energetic spiritual cleansing that allows you to simply release whatever is bothering you. And so sometimes we have things that kind of come into our life like micro traumas or daily stressors. And if we're not slowing down enough to feel it in order to heal it, it's like having cobwebs in your body that keep you stuck. And yeah, those cobwebs can turn into physical pain in the body, I believe. And so it is unwinding mind, body, spirit, soul, all in one session. So that breath is really the portal to the energetic cleansing from within.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I feel like what the unresolved emotion that we like get trapped in our bodies, and I'm a believer that it can come from this lifetime and even past lifetimes. But when the emotions get trapped and we don't deal with it, it causes physical illness. And I have seen that personally. I've seen it happen to people where they just develop these diseases or illness in their body. and they can't figure out, what's going on and what's happening. And the breath work, I've read a long time ago, this is going to sound really silly, but I remember in the 90s, my sister was watching this infomercial, and it was a soap opera star who was on there talking about breathing to lose weight. And so they did all of these breathing things. And at the time, I think I made fun of my sister. I'm like, really, you're going to buy this tape, then you're going to lose weight breathing? But it got me curious. And that was right when the internet, was really had taken off. So I get online and I'm looking up this information like, why would breathing help you lose weight? And then there were all of these studies that talk about how it relieves stress and how it oxygen in the blood and all of the things that it does. And I was like, okay, well, that actually makes sense. So, okay, it makes sense. Maybe I won't make fun of you anymore for listening to this tape on breathing to lose weight. But I understand how that's all connected, how when you do the breath work, that actually does clear a lot of things in the physical body.
Definitely. And I've seen that a lot of times. It's fascinating the things that I've observed with breath work. Often people that have had past sexual trauma or have any negative associations around looking good, they manifest gaining extra weight to not be seen in the world. And so with breath work, if you can get to the root of that and realize where the not wanting to be seen came from, where that started, and feel it in order to heal it, release that, you can let go of that. And then the weight just simply feels like it melts off. It's powerful. So yeah, I've seen that many times. And sometimes also it's deep grief that we hold in our bodies, right? Like if we are sad and we're carrying emotions of other people and we're not processing them, we're not crying and releasing those emotions, then that can also either manifest as cortisol in the body, which is stress. And the more stressed we are, the harder it is to lose weight. The body is like, I need to hold on to all this extra food. And then you start craving more. So it's really connected to a lot of different things. And I always like to think of the analogy of a 5-year-old. Like when you think about young children, they go from smiling to then falling and then crying and then screaming and then back to smiling in like a matter of 2 minutes. And what I love about children, is that they feel all of it. There is no suppression. It's only when we're adults that we're like, oh, it's not safe to cry in this experience. I better cry later. I better never cry. I better shove this down. And we suppress our emotions. And then it's just building upon stuck energy in the body. And so when we can have breath work once a week to unwind the nervous system and to feel in order to heal whatever emotions came through, that's really powerful. And what's also interesting is sometimes we'll cry and it feels like we have leaky eyes, but we're not crying. I always get those people that say, I wasn't crying, but my eyes were leaking. Tell me about that. And my theory with that is that it's either, something from a past life or early trauma that your conscious brain is not remembering, but your body remembers, and your body is releasing on an energetic level and releasing from the cell memory, because your cells hold memories. I also studied psychology in college, and I learned so much about it. And one of the things that I learned in college that blew my mind was that every single time you remember something from the past, you're actually remembering the last time you remembered it. So if I were to tell you a story right now about my dog, and I could tell you a ton of stories about my dog, it would be the last time I'm just picking up that last memory, and it doesn't feel that way. And oftentimes we can actually alter memories. So I had a situation once where I told my boyfriend at the time, this was years ago, about a story. And I told him about it in a way that he felt it in his body. And then a few years later, when we were at my mom's house, he said it as if he was the one in the story, but really it was an ex-boyfriend. I'm like, that's interesting. Yeah. He created this false memory with his brain. And so one of the ways I love to use breath work is to actually rewrite energy on an energetic level, past memories. So if there was a situation, like there were definitely situations in my childhood where I needed to be seen, I needed to be hugged, I needed affection, and I just felt like that was not walked over. So those micro traumas were stored in my body. So going into a breathwork session, you can access these visions that just come through, but you can also choose to create visions, and you see it like a movie in your mind. And so I've done that multiple times where I've added in, even though I didn't know my fiance when I was 5 years old, I'll add him into my childhood and have him be the one giving me the hug and just feeling into what I would have needed my mom to say in those moments of pain and suffering. And of course, my mind knows that that's not the way that it actually happened, but on an energetic level, I got what I needed and it was able to heal and move beyond that.
What an interesting idea. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, I mean, a lot of the work that you do when you're doing EFT tapping and those kinds of things, you're doing that anyway. You're trying to get out those emotions. But in this way, what you're actually doing is rewriting the energetic script for yourself so that what you thought was missing wasn't, because you're able to go back and give that is so interesting. I love that you're able to do that. And I'm sure that's a pretty powerful thing too.
So powerful. Like imagine how powerful you can walk forward in the world, creating the life that you want to create without the stories. A question that I'd love to ask the listeners to ponder is, who are you without the stories that you've carried? The past stories that have defined you. Who are you without any of those stories? If you weren't a story and you were just you in this moment as the essence of you, without any of, oh, but I'm this way because this, then you have ultimate freedom.
Yeah, I just did a podcast the other day for my Patreon page about getting rid of the labels that we put on ourselves and not trying to confine ourselves to these little boxes that we're not supposed to fit into these neat little categories. Yet from a very early age, we get put into these neat little categories and we get told different things like you're not athletic or, you're not very smart. And we take that on as who we are when that's really not true. And it's not who we are. And I love that in this work, because I say journaling and, using affirmations and giving yourself, the pep talks that you needed, like you're going to rewrite that. But you're actually doing this energetically, which is so deep. That's on such a deep level, because you're right. Your body holds on to memories at the cellular level, and that can include this lifetime, past lifetimes, everything that we carry over. So there's a lot of people who are holding on to a lot of stuff way deep.
Exactly. And what I've also found is that sometimes when people tell their story, if you've ever listened to someone tell their story about traumas that they hold in their body, the way that they tell it either sounds like a teenager or it sounds like a little kid. And my theory is that it gets stuck in those ages when it's not healed. So in breath work, I love doing this with one-on-one sessions because they can talk back and I can mirror to them or hold space, or I sometimes even will like be the space holder that is their mom. Like, okay, whatever you needed to tell your mom, tell me right now. And having that witness is powerful. And so if it gets stuck, let's say at age 14, and that's the way that energetically you feel about the story, you still have the resentment that you had when you're 14, and you can express what you were feeling in the way that the 14-year-old self would have, you can actually feel it in order to heal it as well. And then you can tell it from a more empowered place that is your current age self.
I think that's interesting too, because you bring up a good point. I know a lot of people who you can tell exactly when their trauma happened because their emotional maturity is still at that level.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. So if it was like when they were 12, there are a lot of things, a lot of behaviors that person may exhibit where you're like, why are you acting like a 12-year-old? Like, oh, well, this is why.
Yeah.
But that's great then that you can go in and it's almost, I want to say it would almost be like acting out a play, but it's almost like acting out your past, but then in a way that you can reshape it so that your future is also reshaped.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
It's powerful work. It's like you can do things on such an energetic level that change you. People ask me, do I really need to have this conversation with my dad? I don't want to have this conversation. You can act it out and energetically resolve it. You don't actually have to do it. And that's a really great thing for a lot of people to hear if they needed to have a conversation with someone who's passed away.
Yeah.
right? And they don't have that opportunity necessarily to have a conversation. Now, if anyone's listening and they do a breathwork session and they're like, wow, the message is to create more emotional intimacy with my mom, and I feel like I should call her more and apologize, then that's also really profound. Like, you don't just have to do the exercises in the breath work. I know I've definitely received that message with my sister of like, forgive your sister. Like, of course, sisters are going to fight when they're growing up. She's awesome. Love her. Like, have fun with her, create that bond again.
Yeah.
That's been powerful. So what I love about breath work is that the integration is just as profound as the journey itself. So people like ask me, can you do too much breath work? It's kind of like, well, you can get all these insights, all that's ready for you, but if you're not actually implementing, then you're kind of missing the point. So most of the time you get these clear action steps of what to do, whether it's calling your sister or quitting your job or starting a new program that you do for your business, like whatever it is, acting on that and doing it faster rather than later also builds trust with the self. I can't remember where I heard this quote, but the quote is, the fastest way to break self-trust is to continuously break commitments on yourself. We say, I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to do this tomorrow. And really, whatever you're saying you're going to do is out of alignment with you and you don't really want to do it. And so you start to develop this belief that you can't do anything, because if you could, then you would have done this thing that you're beating yourself up over. So I find that a lot with my clients. Like, they try so hard to do one certain strategy because they've seen that it works. And I have to remind them, like, there's a million strategies. And what my job is to help you pick the one that feels good for you. If you want to show up on Instagram and that feels good, awesome. For me, I don't tend to do that much. My thing is email list and summits. And it's really about doing what feels good for you rather than the should, and continuously failing to move forward on your aligned actions.
Yeah, you brought up a really good point, and I'm glad that you did, because there's so many tools out there that you can use to help you, whether you use affirmations, meditations, whatever. And going and learning 50 different tools is great. But if you don't use any of those tools, you don't actually take any kind of actionable steps, then they're pointless. Like, you're not really doing anything. So I love that you bring that up, because I know there's probably a lot of people out there who will say, like, well, I'm doing this, I learned that, I'm doing all of this. But it's like they're learning techniques, but then not actually implementing them in their daily life. And so that's not super helpful.
And that is similar to what I shared in the beginning about my story of always looking for something external. I was the same way. I was like, I'm going to get every certification that exists. I'm going to learn all the stuff. And when I was done with something, I would just avoid taking action by learning the next thing and not showing up. And so what was underneath that, which of course breath work had me reveal, wasn't the wisdom that just came through my mind. It had to be the breath work journey, and the power of it was that I was afraid to show up. Right? Like, starting my business, there's fear of rejection. There is, what are people going to think of me? What are people going to think if I show up in this way? What are they going to think if I don't show up in that way? What if no one buys this? What if people want a refund? What if they pay me and then want their money back? Like, all the fears come through, and you're able to see all of that in a way and kind of laugh at it. And I love that, because otherwise it's just kind of floating around in your subconscious and you're not really aware of it. And when you can do breath work and see all the fears clearly, it's like, oh, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that my inner child is afraid of rejection? Well, of course that makes sense. And you nurture that part of yourself with the breath work, and then you move forward anyways. And so it's like you get so much clarity on what's so important to you, that the vision that you carry for your life outweighs the prices that you would pay. So it's like every day, it's like, I know my vision is to spread the message that all the wisdom that we need is within our breath, and to empower people to start businesses that are aligned with them and to use these tools. And that vision is stronger than the prices that I could pay of people judging me and people thinking I'm wrong or incorrect. And that's okay. I'm willing to pay those prices. But it wasn't until doing breath work and doing the inner work that I was okay with that.
Yeah, I got chills while you were talking about that. Yeah. When you hear the truth, that's usually, for me, what happens is I get the chills. But that's really amazing. And who knows you better and what's best for your life than yourself? Our higher selves always know. We know what we're supposed to be doing and where we're supposed to be going. We come here and we get bogged down by all of the things every single day, people coming at you, judging you, telling you different things, putting doubt in your mind. That's what keeps us stuck. It's like we have to get back to our inner self and our higher selves. And so it sounds like breath work is a really great way to do that.
Yeah, building that relationship with yourself. And what I love most of all, using it for business, is the empowerment that I'm giving to my client. Like, we're co-creating. I will never tell a client what to charge, what program to make. I will make suggestions and see how it feels for them. But what I found is that when you tell someone exactly what to do and you give them exactly step by step their business, they don't do it because it's not them, right? They don't feel aligned to it. They're not energetically invested in it. So when you can hold that space and guide someone with breath work to unlock their own tools, but then also give them business foundations of how to see that that would work in a way that makes sense marketing wise, well, then you've got an unstoppable machine where you've got the energy, and you're just moving forward so fast. Like, people tell me, like, Adrienne, how do you have so much energy in your business? Like, you just came out with an Oracle deck, you just got back from Peru, like, you've been doing all this stuff. And my experience is that you're just not holding back. You're doing all the things. Like, how do you do that? And it's like, well, alignment and just doing what I want to do.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
totally understand that. I agree with you that when you're aligned and you're on the right path, things just do tend to kind of happen quickly, and you do tend to have energy to do all of the things you want. But I want to circle back and talk about your deck, because you have this
Yeah.
deck, and it's also called the Breath of Gold,
Breath of
right?
Gold. Yeah. Breath of
But what
Gold
is this
Oracle
deck?
deck.
Yeah, what is this deck about?
Yeah, so this is an Oracle deck that has 67 cards, and each card in the deck is a reminder to connect something back to your breath. So some of the cards are breathe in love, breathe in relationships, breathe in clarity, breathe in collaboration, breathe in determination, different things that we get reminded of to embody. And I would love to pull a card for our audience.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you, would you pull a
Yes.
deck for us? I love that.
Yes, let's see what wants to come through.
Okay,
Ooh,
awesome.
this is perfect for our conversation because we got 7 is the number, and breathe in prosperity. And check out all these
Oh, the
butterflies.
butterflies. We were just having a
Yes,
conversation before we started this podcast about butterflies. Love it.
I
Yeah.
love it because there's pink butterflies and then there's a gold butterfly. And Breath of Gold, our logo is a gold butterfly, and your logo kind of looks like these butterflies on the side.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. That is so
Yeah.
cool.
So when I'm interpreting oracle cards, I also look at the symbolism in the arts. And one of the things that really speaks wonders to this is not only the butterfly symbolizing transformation as the spirit animal here, but also this picture of this woman and how embodied she is to receive. So what I'm feeling this message is for everyone today is to, and it also looks like she's taking a deep breath, to get into your body. Like, what does embodiment really mean? It means embodying your purpose. And so if you can embody prosperity, it is this knowingness that you are the universe. It's this knowingness that you are abundance. It's this knowingness that you trust yourself enough to have all the knowledge in the world to create prosperity in any ways that you need to at the snap of your fingers. And that's ultimate freedom, because anyone in the world can create money, and that money can be taken, spent, lost, anything can happen. But when we know we have those tools, that is the gold that we're creating with Breath of Gold. That is the real gold. So I'd love to read what the card book says. It says, the universe is calling for you to practice receiving and fully exploring all that is already here for you. Allow yourself to receive deep and powerful spiritual insights during this time. Prosperity is all around you, and the universe invites you to receive it with open arms. If you've been looking to rewrite your past stories, now is the time. Find beauty and gratitude in what surrounds you. Even the deepest wounds from the past can blossom into the most beautiful transformation. Envision what you are intending to shift in your life to attract infinite bliss and prosperity.
That's perfect. What a beautiful and perfect message for today. I love that.
Yes. And this is perfectly great because it says rewrite your past stories. A lot of what this
Yeah,
says.
it's exactly what we talked
True.
about. Hello,
Total
there's this message
alignment.
out there for some of us, me included, but some of us out there, we've gotten this message. We need to heal the past and welcome in the prosperity,
Mhm.
that awaits once you do the work.
Yeah, receive it with open arms.
Yes,
Sometimes receiving is the hardest part for us.
it is. Absolutely. I think many of us are very good at giving to others, but we're not so good at receiving.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I love that. And I love everything that you are offering. So if there are people out there listening and they want to buy your deck, or maybe they want to, again, join the free session you have on Sunday, or maybe they just want to say, I want to go ahead and book some breathwork sessions and they want to follow you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, if you go to breathofgold.com, you can find all the things there. You can find the link to contact me, to book a call with me. You'll see the Oracle deck there as well. We have a breathwork certification for people that want to share this magic and create prosperity with breathwork and guiding others. So that's powerful. And I'm also on Instagram at Adrienne Rivera Coaching. And then my business coaching website is adrienrivera.com.
Awesome. And we will have a link in the show notes so you can go directly there. This has been such an amazing and fun conversation. I've enjoyed this thoroughly. Thank you for being here today.
Yes, this was magical. Thank you for having me.
Now, I always, before I let you go, like to put our guests on the spot a little bit, even though you have been the whole time. But I always like to ask our guests to leave our listeners with a little piece of wisdom that they can take with them for the day. So, what piece of wisdom can you leave us with today?
The reminder is that you are the creator of your own life. It's only when you forget that you get thrown off your path and you feel that you are at the mercy of others. When you realize that you have the ability to shift, your ability to create prosperity, your ability to create love, your ability to have meaningful relationships, and that you can go out in the world and find that and create that, that is where you have ultimate freedom. So I hope to inspire people to remember to create their life and to slow down and examine what parts they feel like are happening to them rather than they're completely in their own power, and to shift that and rewrite the story.
I love that. I love every bit of that. Beautiful advice and such a wonderful conversation. I encourage all of you to go and check out her website and also follow her on social media. Go check out the free breathwork class. That sounds amazing. I may have to just pop over there and join you on Sunday myself. So,
Yes, I would love to see you on Sunday and everyone else listening. So powerful.
awesome. Well, thank you so much again for being here with us. And I wish you so much luck in everything that you're doing.
Thank you. You as well.
And I want to thank all of you for being here with us today as well. As always, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. Please leave a positive review from wherever you're listening. The greatest compliment you can pay me is to share this podcast with those you think might enjoy it. And if you want to follow me on social media, all of the links are in the show notes. I'd love to have you there. And if you want to work with me, you can go to my website, melissaoatman.com. I hope that you guys are having a beautiful day from wherever you're listening. As always, I am sending you so much love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.